Welcome back to GBGuns, and we've got a car here of a different color. Any guesses what it is? Coming up next on GBGuns. So, very excited to have Kahr back on the channel. Been a little bit. As you saw there from that intro, this is a different type of car, and Cryptek, awesome camo. I'm not always a camo guy. I mean, I did wear it for 15 years, got kind of tired of it, but Cryptek is not only an effective pattern, but also just kind of cool looking. And so the Typhon color of it, I like. Want to show you right off the bat what makes this one different. So we have this this card here. Magnum Research, Kahr, Auto Ordnance, all in the Kahr Firearms group, teamed up with John Teagan and did a special edition of each of their guns in different colors. Only 250 of the Desert Eagles, 1,000 of the Tommies, and 1,000 of the Kahrs, with the Beyond the Battlefield Teagan Foundation. And the intent with this is to raise money and awareness for supporting veterans returning home from the battlefield and making their transition into civilian life. And this is something very near and dear to myself. Coming back from 2 wars, not the easiest thing, and then my transition into civilian life was a lot briefer than expected, and so wasn't the easiest thing to do. So this is, I think, a very, very cool concept here. We have this certificate of authenticity with the signature of Teagan himself, along with the serial number and number of the limited edition. This is number 64. The first 50 are in 3-gun sets, so you have to get all 3 together. So that makes this effectively number 14 of the non-set. So we, of course, had a trigger lock and 2 8-round magazines from Kahr. Here's the gun itself. Let's get the box out of the way and take a closer look at this thing. So to start off, of course, show clear, get that magazine out. Very neat special ST9. If you haven't seen our video on the release of the ST9s, it is an evolution, if you will, some slight advancements over the standard Kahrs that I've come to appreciate. Let's take a look around this thing. So you notice right away we've got a dark slide, which I dig, especially with this color combo. It looks pretty neat. Slide to frame is good and tight, and that's because, as you can see right in there, and I'll show you when we field strip this thing, there are now, at least in the ST series, these rails up front. So there's some steel reinforcement up here that guides the slide even more. We've got a nice beveling at the edge of the slide, front serrations for press checks. We do have a 3-slot rail, black trigger, black mag release, and slide release. And this Cryptek job is awesome. It gives the gun a slightly different feel, which I like. It kind of reminds me of the feel on the carbon fiber model that you saw us review, the CW9. And it really, it changes the way the gun feels in the hand quite a bit. Gives it almost a rubberized feeling. So as with all the ST9s, we have a slight relief here, which allows large hands like myself to get a full grip on the gun, which is awesome for such a small gun. Also, the trigger guard has this flare here to keep you focused on where you need to be on the grip and still allow room for movement. Nice flat and rounded edges face to the trigger shoe. We have checkering on the front, some texturing on the side. A little tough to see with that camouflage there. Checkering on the back. Slide to frame fit very tight on the rear. 3-dot sights, which do have that 90-degree ledge that is all the rage right now for being able to rack off of a table or belt or something for one-handed operation. Come around the right side. There's our limited edition numbering. Tegan's signature is etched, as well as the emblem for Beyond the Battlefield and Tegan. Very cool looking. We'll field strip this next and take a look inside the gun. So field stripping a Kahr, we've got that tab there that needs to be taken to the open window. You can see right there. So grab and squeeze there, and then we're going to push on this part here to take out that takedown pin. They can be really tight. What I've found to be effective is to use a magazine and give it a push from the other side. You can see it's now popped out there. And the base plate to pry a little bit. This thing is snug because it's brand new. I'm gonna need to get a screwdriver or something to give that a pry. Alright, having given it a bit of a pry, I did want to show you a nice feature on these. See that little cutout right there, the bottom? That makes for a great spot to be able to wedge something in there and get this pulled loose. Now with that done, we can pull the trigger and the slide comes right off. So looking at our frame, as with the ST9s, as I mentioned, we have this steel insert along the side here, which gives it some reinforcement and rigidity and fits in this edge here on the front of the slide. So it's a full length rail, if you will. You got that rail, then through here, some steel insert in the back. As with all Kahrs, you've got that nice long but roller bearing smooth double action trigger. Pull off our non-captured recoil spring, and we have a steel guide rod. Barrel drops down and out. Now something that makes Kahrs a little different and famous, they've got their hashtag barrel envy, is the barrels are longer for guns of the same size. Because of the locking system they use, they're able to have the barrel further back. Why you'd care about that is you get more velocity, and that means your defensive rounds are probably going to be more effective. Nice long polished feed ramp, very pretty. Got some nice beveling along the edge of the barrel, of the throat, if you will, of the chamber. That helps with the reliability and should mean that we can feed just about anything. We'll find that out in our shooting impressions. To check chamber support, of course, we're using our nozzle match as always. Drop that in there, and we can take a look and see that it is mostly supported, not quite a full support. So for those of you that like to use reloads or weak brass or overpressure, you might want to be careful, but I have yet to experience any problems with the Kahr. Take a look in our slide. Nice finishing, a little bit of wear on the underside. Not too terribly worried about that. There's our drop safety. Striker. Good looking gun, looking forward to it. We did test the ST9s when they first came out, and it's a nice advancement for Kahr. The non-captured recoil spring, some people get excited about them, some people don't. What I like about it is if you're the kind of person that wants to really tune your gun to the load you're using, being able to just swap out the spring makes that a lot easier. So reassembly, of course, is reverse of the disassembly. We're going to pull this back. Now we can see clearly through that window. So we'll get this pin started. Then finish bringing this back until those spots there line up. Push it in, and the gun is together. Function check, everything's good. As far as trigger, I'll show you part of what makes Kahrs famous. So you don't have external safeties, right? You don't even have a trigger doohickey because it's double action only. So it's a longer, heavier pull, but not exactly heavy. And it's very smooth, which is what makes them excellent. You see there's continuous tension. There's no slack or slipping to one spot or another. This comes back. Very clean break. And because it is double action, your reset is going to be longer. All the way out at the end. And of course the same pull again. Makes it a very fitting defensive trigger, in my opinion. Good looking gun there. Did notice our magazine, there we go. Maybe it just needed to be broken in a little bit. So as far as magazine eject versus release, it ejects. So it kicks it out, which I'm a fan of because sometimes a little bit of grit gets in there and you have some issue. These are 8-round magazines. You get 2 of them with this gun, so it makes it 8 plus 1, 9. Total capacity, which is pretty good, pretty handy in a very slim gun with a barrel longer than you'd normally get out of a gun this size. Very cool. I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. I think it's very noble of them to be doing some fundraising for veterans returning home from war. Like I said, that definitely applies to me, and the transition isn't always easy, especially for guys like me that joined at 17 and spent their entire adult life up until getting out in uniform. And so very noble of Kahr. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing them at SHOT and talking to them about this program. And I think it's just a damn good looking gun. We'll get it out to the range and do our multi-load test, of course. Currently I think we've got from 165 grain all the way down to 65 grain. I'm looking forward to it. It's got a good fit in the hand, a good feel, although it's very thin. Still a comfortable hold, and like I said, that Kryptek coating gives it a nice texture to it. It's just a good looking gun. Thanks for watching.